Team Happy and Fit. It's Julianne. I appreciate you either watching the recording or getting on live. Seriously, if you can turn on your video, if you're able. I love feeling the energy. I love seeing you. I just freaking love this team so much. And I was just talking about Everything is Figure Outable, the book. If you just need something to keep you casting your vision and remembering, sometimes I think I need to be reminded that I have everything I already need to get to wherever I want to go. Sometimes we think that we have to have this mysterious secret, but you were born with everything you need right now to do whatever it is that you want to do, and then you just learn skills along the way. It's not about credentials. It's not about how many years in education. If you care about people and you have a beating heart, you're capable, right? And it's so wild what our brains can learn. The world needs that special gift that only you have. Our world needs that special gift that only you have. It's true and you know it. You've known it since you were little. You've sensed that there's something special inside of you, something distinct and extraordinary that you and only you came here to create and express. Trust that feeling. It's your life force, your genius, your destiny screaming to be realized. Uncovering, developing, and sharing your gifts, that's the whole reason you're here on earth. I believe that's the whole reason any of us are here, to create and contribute to one another. I believe that. I believe that God created us for community, right? But I also know that he created us for a reason. And it's to use whatever reasons he brought us here. The cool thing is, to be clear, your gifts do not have to be grand in a scale or epic in their reach. All contributions are necessary and valuable. Right now, your gift may be the nourishing meals you cook for your friends and family, the compassion and understanding you bring to tough conversations. Your gifts may involve wood sculptures, paintings, plumbing, activism, fighting fires, making comics, producing plays, doing research, designing eco-friendly urban spaces, designing jewelry, or coaching your daughter's Little League team. Your gifts might be expressed through volunteer work or through attention, respect, and caring you show every person you meet. From your bank teller to a stranger on the street, your gift may be the way your garden inspires hope and wonder in your neighborhood. You likely have many gifts, and those gifts will develop and evolve over the course of your life, just as you do. And then she said, I have nothing unique to offer. It's all been done before. How many of you have ever felt that? And then she said this, imagine your favorite coffee shop or clothing store, any source of joy or value. It can be a bunch of other things. Now imagine the creator having the same limiting thought that you're having. Imagine having her hands thrown up in the air before it even started. Why even bother? Everyone already beat me to it. The world has enough coffee and t-shirts and ... That would suck, right? Think about like your favorite restaurant. She explained it as an Italian restaurant, and she has a favorite one in New York. It's like a little pop shop, right? Mom and pop shop. And she's like, how many freaking Italian restaurants are in New York City? She's like, there's the whole Italian district. But I love this specific one. What if those people were to be like, oh, there's already too many Italian restaurants? She's like, I would be missing out big time. It's kind of the same thing with coaching, right? Like, why would anyone want to join me? There's already 350,000 other coaches. Well, the numbers that they did at leadership, I can tell you this, not many of them are working the business. It's kind of crazy. But I just think that people want your compassion. They want your story. They identify with your common struggle. So before we get started, Kim and I are going to be talking about leadership, but I just feel like sometimes you just need to hear and be reminded of how incredibly special you are. It's sometimes really hard to believe, but I just am really grateful for this guiding force of a team. They remind us. You remind me. I hadn't worked out in 3 days, and I yesterday was feeling very anxious and not good. And then I worked out today and I'm like, that was it. That was my missing key factor, is that I needed to move my body. My body was craving movement, and we're most anxious when our body is the most still. When anxiety happens, it's usually when you're laying in bed at night or laying in bed in the morning. And I was feeling anxious, and then I moved my body and I'm like, oh, Eric, that's what I needed. That's exactly what I needed. So everything is figure outable. I really liked it. I really felt like it fit my season right now. Everything is figure outable. Anything you want to do, if it's this business, whatever, life, you can figure it out, and it's going to be amazing. Real fast, for those of you who are going on the diamond retreat, I'm super excited. Message me if you're really close to diamonds. That's all I'm going to say. If you are just needing to figure out, I'm just saying this, like, live events are the thing that remind me of my belief in this, and live events are my favorite. It's just like, I don't know what it is. I missed Summit because I was about to have Faye, and so I've just had this huge gap of not being able to be with people. And with this team, like, in small pockets, but I was like needing it, right? And so leadership was just like, man, and what was super cool is hugging everybody, saying, see you next week. That was pretty special. But I saw that Turner got our tickets today. Emily is coming. Erica's about to hit 1 star. It's like all these things. Man, are we so magnificently blessed to be able to do this. Real fast, we have on the t-shirts already signed up in the Diamond Pages, Kim, Lacey, Holly. We have Lauren, Lindsay, Amanda. We have Danny, Kara, me, Turner, Erica, and Emily. I feel so excited about that. I'm pretty sure it's mainly Team Happy and Fit, which is super, super cool. So please don't stress out about lodging and transportation and things like that. I swear everything is figure outable. I have to raise like $10,000 by the 31st to do my mountain climb. I'm gonna figure that out. Everything is figure outable. I can figure it out. Okay, so leadership. It is a special event for 5-star and above. By the way, I think what I've noticed about these events is that, you guys, the people at these events, guess what they do? They work on themselves and they share their story. There's no, like, so there's someone that is there that's paying someone to work Instagram. Well, I'm not. There was someone there that has a personal assistant. I don't. There's someone there that has fancy lighting. I don't have that. There's someone there that has the new iPhone. I don't have that. There's someone there that has a life coach, probably. I don't have that. There's someone there with all of the most fancy clothes. I mean, like, all the animal print. Kim, did you notice that the first workout I was like, is it animal print day? Like these leggings probably cost $100. It's fine. Nope, didn't have that. People were walking around with Louis Vuitton, I think is how you say it. Purses, didn't have that. I didn't even have my purse with me. Actually, I did have my little wallet thing, right? I was eating popcorn for snacks. I definitely brought peanut butter, pretzels. Trina had one bag one day. I like had them all, like, she like just, I was like, here, you're hungry, huh? Like, you just take this, right? It doesn't matter the external stuff, but really the people that were in that room decided that they wanted to be there. They all walk the walk, they share it. And here's the deal. What I want you to, the common theme I want you to think about right now is, what is your common struggle? That is going to be the one thing that connects you to the person who's meant to join you. What is your common struggle? Mine is postpartum right now. So what is your common struggle? But the difference is, in this journey, is that we're showing we're going somewhere with it. Some of you might be in the thick of it. The thick of it. It doesn't mean that you're through it. It means that you have a common struggle, but you're doing something about it, even if you're still in the thick of it. I guarantee that that common struggle is going to connect and inspire someone. So I really invite you to think about, what is that common struggle? Right now, me, it's a schedule, it's a routine, it is crazy hormones, it's traveling, it's nursing, it's pumping, it's all the things, right? And like doing all the stuff. That's my common struggle, and I just keep sharing that, and then I keep inviting people to join me along with me. So everybody in that room, there's probably less than 500. And they just decided. They had belief, but I'm telling you this, I heard on a call, I was listening to some other leadership calls. I'm very resourceful, so I want to hear other people's takeaways. And so that's what I did the last few days. And someone talked about how they were walking by a group of top coaches like Lindsay, Matt Way, all these people. And you want to know what they were talking about? How many times they've been arrested before Beachbody. I'm not kidding. Like, that's exactly what they talked about. And I'm like, dude, like, anyone can do this. Like, that's what's so cool about this, is that it's not based on if someone approves you or not. I just had someone message me that she just got fired from her job because someone made a assumption about her, or they said something that was false. And she has to go look for another job right now. One of my best friends is really struggling in her role of the job and is looking for a new job right now. And I'm like, man, I really love my job. I really love it. The things that we get frustrated by are our fears. We get frustrated based on a lack of movement. And it's all, can you guys just hear these dogs? They're so loud. Anyway, we get frustrated based on time. And there's more I'm going to say about that, but we can get so frustrated that things aren't happening quicker. But man, we are so developed in this process of grit. I think that I live in Silicon Valley to give me more grit. I'm so serious when I say that. I have to still be on my toes all the time. And you will get to a place where that's not the case. That's why I'm going to climb a mountain that's the equivalent to summit or Everest, because I'm like, I need to keep leveling up and challenging myself. And that's what I love about this journey. So Kim Meyer and I got to go together. It was really special. This is my third leadership. That's her second leadership. And basically, I just want more of you there next year. And put that on your vision, speak it out. Something that I heard at leadership was, this was a really good talk, was that she always in her stories talks about what she's working towards. So every time she sits down, I really think it's easy to do a checklist mentality in your tracker, and inviting and things like that, and just kind of throwing up social media. But she said every time she sits down to get her work done, she thinks about the cabin she wants to get her family, because that's where her husband had all of his childhood memories, was at in a cabin. And she's like, so every time I sit down, or every time I'm tired and it's 10 p.m., she's a mom of two and she's breastfeeding and nursing. And she said, when it comes to be 10 p.m., which is my only open time, she's like, I think about the cabin and what it's going to be like. I think about the laughter. I think about the birthday parties. I think about all the memories we're going to have there. And that's how I get my work done. And I was like, I forgot to do that. I used to do that. And so I just was checking things off, or maybe getting it done, or doing whatever. And now I'm like, I'm picturing something. I'm picturing my future self when I get to work. And I think we have to work with our future self. And that's how you become the boss of your own life, is you're thinking of what would your future self need of you in order to do that. Like, what does your future self need in order to make that happen? Some of you right now are just needing $50 extra a week. And I did the math for you. That's 2 year-long Beachbody On Demands a week. If you sell 2 year-long Beachbody On Demands, that's $50 a week. Think about the compound effect with that. Right? Next year in this time, there will be 2 people renewing their Beachbody On Demand. But if you do this every week, by next year, you'll have 4 people this week renewing or having Beachbody On Demand for a year. Does that make sense? It'd be $100. That's not the only way to make money in this, but if you need to make $50 real quick, I put that in quotations because, you guys, all good things take time. This is different than the other jobs that give you a contract that have no growth room. People, and that's easier for people to grasp because it's just the amount that gets deposited no matter what, because you signed a contract. This is different, but I need you to understand how limitless it is. For me, my teaching income was like $34,000. Sweet, that's guaranteed, right? But there was no way to grow past that. There's a way to grow past that here, and it requires you to work hard and put in the work. And I guarantee if you put in the work, I'm really proud of Lauren Lundberg. She messaged me. She's like, I need to get to leadership. She's like, what do I do? And we talked about it. And she's like, I'm going to send out invites. that's what I can control right now. And she did. She took action. She's like, I just sent out 34 invites. I gave her an idea of what she could send out. Go to your followers, click A. Hey, thanks for following me. I really appreciate it. I like to connect with those who are following me and see how I can help them. I specifically mentor people in fitness nutrition, and also I want to help them make an income. Right? What do you have to lose by doing that? Dang, Lauren, I feel the fire, sister. Okay, Kim, I know your favorite part was definitely rooming with me in my chatter box. And when I wake up, I'm practically dancing in the morning, you guys. And I realized, oh my gosh, Kim, do you need me to be quiet in the morning? Like, do you need some like peaceful time? Like, do you need me to not talk? Because I wake up and I'm like, woo, let's go. So, Kim, can you share your takeaways from the content, your takeaways from live events, your takeaways with me, just anything from leadership? It was so fun to be there with you.
It was a ton of fun to be there with you too. There were tons of takeaways, so many experiences in the ballroom, learning and growing with other coaches, as well as hanging out by the pool or climbing a mountain or all the other things that we did as teammates outside of the learning opportunities. But I would say that my favorite piece of the content, well, there's lots of favorite pieces, but my favorite part was towards the very end. First of all, we had two amazing keynotes. One on the first day, the elite day, that was amazing and had so much to talk about mindset and growth and just overcoming things like where and how you have to talk to people. People need to feel safe. You need to be able to trust yourself completely to be able to do anything. And when you can really trust yourself and have your own self in a safe place, then other people will be attracted to it as well. And you'll be able to communicate more clearly with people by letting them know that you're in a safe place. But the second keynote was on Saturday, and that guy rode a unicycle around the ballroom. He juggled knives, and he did a handstand on the podium. So if that didn't get your attention, I don't know what else would. But it was about balance, and it was a lot of. The first he came out, and he was all super excited, and he was like, "If I came out here and did 3 backflips and a tuck or whatever, would you guys be excited? Like, would that have brought more energy to the room?" And they were like, yeah. So then he did it. And then we're like, okay, this guy's legit. And then he did a whole bunch of other things, brought out some juggling things, really talked about balance in life and how we can hold things, we can throw things, but we really have to be looking up. We always have to be looking up, and we always have to be focused on the throw, not the catch. And so you're always focused on the action, not the results. Because if you're only focusing on the results where it's going to hit your hand, you're going to get frustrated and you're not going to catch things because you're not looking to where the ball is going. And so he talked about always looking up and looking at the toss and making sure that when the balls fly, they form an infinity loop. And if you're consistent with what you're doing and if you keep going forward like the infinity circle, you will, and keep looking up, you're going to get farther in life than if you just don't. He did a much better job than I did, obviously. But the other cool thing that I wanted to talk about was almost the last one, was a coach that talked about vision versus goals. And that one really kind of struck my heart in a lot of ways. But the difference between vision and goals is that a goal is something like hosting an event or hitting a certain rank or losing a certain amount of weight. A goal is an achievable action, right? We always talk about those SMART goals and how it's timely and it's measurable and it's all these things and it's going to have a deadline to it. Vision is a lot different. Vision is how you see forward past small goals, and it's a lifestyle. It's a way of living. It's a way of thinking. It's a large end result that will give you and prosper for you in long ways. And so she talked about having her coach journey. She's been through a lot of things, but when she really was focused on a lot of goals, she started to get burned out. She started to get frustrated. She started to feel like she was never enough because it was always chasing a goal. And you heard that probably a million times, a million ways about how when you hit a certain goal, a lot of achievers like us are like, great, boom, awesome. What's the next thing? and we never take time to look around and enjoy the view, or never take time to celebrate that success. It's always just what's the next, what's the next, what's the next. And when you get caught up in that goal mindset, it can really burn you out. And she said instead, she had to figure out how to switch to the vision mindset, what does she want to live like? Who is the person that she wants to become? What is the kind of stuff that she wants her kids to experience? What are the things that she wants? What is the lifestyle that she wants to be living? Where does she want to be living? Those kinds of things. And she says, where you go is determined by what we believe and where we see ourselves going, which was a gut check for myself and for a lot of other people in the room. And when the way she explained it too was where we go is determined by where we see ourselves going. If you say that you want a certain rank, or that you want a certain lifestyle, that you want to live debt free, or that you want to live in a certain place, or that you want to make so much money a month, or whatever it might be, if you see that for yourself and you say that you want those things, but inside you're like, even like writing down affirmations, like, I want to be debt free by 40. Okay. But then if I follow that up with that like gut thing in my head, or like the silent inside of me that says, yeah, that would be nice, but, is that really even possible? That's going to take a lot of work. You know, like if you follow up like that affirmation with that silent killer in your head, it's not going to be there because you don't really believe it. So you really have to set your vision. Vision is excitement around what you are achieving and what our products help us become. And so she said, who is it that you need to become? Who is it that you need to be in order to achieve the things that you want to achieve? She said, cast the vision for your life and then figure out how you can get there in actionable steps. So you're going to throw it way out there and say, I want to live this way. This is the way I want to show up in the world. This is the way I want to live in the world. And then from that, you back up and make mile markers along the way. And you don't give yourself necessarily a deadline for all of them. You just say, these are the milestones that I'm going to achieve in order to get to that place. And so by casting that vision and then believing in that vision, that's where you really have to get to. And she says, we don't fail because we don't know the information. It's because we don't believe in ourselves that we're really going to be able to become it. There's tons of information out there. We live in an information-filled world. Like Julianne just said, she watches YouTube every single day. And if you've ever watched her tips in there, she even likes the video, so she knows she's watched it before, because she's constantly consuming information. There is so much information out there. And I can tell you that 90% of the stuff that I wrote down in my notebook and I typed up on my laptop is not new information. There's no secret to this business. The only secret to the business is the true belief that you have in yourself and what it is that you really believe here. Do you believe that you're worth it, or do you just saying that you want it? Do you say that you want to achieve this goal and then sit and complain about the things that are going on in life? Are you saying that you want to do these things, but what? Like, no, there can't be a but. There can't be a, oh. There's got to be I'm going this direction. There's got to be conviction behind it. And she said, we don't fail because of lack of information. We fail because of lack of belief. And she learned that she had to be fiercely committed to what she wanted in her life. She learned that she has to be the person that shows up. And she learned that she's going to be a player in the long game, not in the short game. And this is one of the things that I really loved. She says, when you're fighting for today, or you're fighting through something, are you fighting through the thing today? Or are you fighting for the thing for the vision? Like, are you fighting for the successful point today? Or you're like, we're on the 22nd already, almost 23rd, like the end of the month is coming. We have a week left. Are you fighting in the short-term gain? Or are you fighting for the long-term vision that's for you? When you sit down to work, are you worried about numbers and hitting a metric that Beachbody has put for you, or that you think is so super important? Or are you working for the vision that you have set for your life and who you want to become? Because I would tell you that the person I want to be isn't going to be stressed about money, isn't going to be stressed about how many points I have, isn't going to be stressed about the metrics that really in the grand scheme of things really don't mean that much of anything. Yes, they're metrics to help us show progress, but they're not the be all end all, right? And so when you can really focus on helping people, the helping people part is the most important part of our mission statement. And Carl said it a million times over. And in his last remarks to us, he said, anytime Carl Deichler gets on the stage, you just listen, right? And so like he came out and he said, I have 2 things for you. 2 points is all he had. And then he talked for 45 minutes, but 2 things, okay? 1, it's just about helping people. Help them move, help them worry less, help them be confident in who they are, help them with their nutrition, help them. He said, stop worrying about the technical and just help people. And then he went on a rant about how the challenge pack is the best thing and he's never going to reward things that are not for the challenge pack because the challenge pack is the total solution. He didn't say this, but I was thinking it, like, if you went to the doctor and you had cancer and the doctor said, well, it's I have this really big thing. It's like 3 parts to it. It's super expensive. But because you can't afford that, I'm just going to give you this one little thing and you're going to get kind of better. Would that fly with you? Or would you want all 3 parts? Right? So like we come to the table and we minimize ourselves. We minimize the value of what we bring to people because of their own excuses and limitations. We take on their excuses, limitations and say, oh, I'm sorry, it's not as valuable as I say it is. I think you should just take this one thing, right? Like, oh, we'll just do the trial. We'll just do a sampler. Like, yes, that gets people in the door, but we know that we bought challenge packs. We push play every day. We drink Shakeology every day. And if we really believe in it, that's what we should be offering other people too. And so like, that was his whole thing, was like, just focus on helping people with the total solution. That's what comes with the money back guarantee. That's what's changed everyone's lives, right? He's like, you can sell someone a tub of Energize, but it's not going to be, they're not going to get their picture on a side-by-side graphic that's put out on the internet. We're like, yeah, right. Energize isn't going to save their life. Shakeology and fitness and nutrition will. So doing those kinds of things. And then he said the second thing was, what are your goals that you have by the year end? He's like, just think about that for 30 seconds. What are your goals for the year end? He's like, it could be rank, it could be money, it could be success club, it could be your own personal health, it could be whatever. And he's like, write that down. And then he said, now I want you to double it. And everyone kind of like just looked up and he was like, yeah, you know that gut reaction that you just had? That little like, nuh-uh, that's your biggest excuse. That's the biggest reason why you're not going to hit your year-end goal. You need to fix that, whatever that was for you. And it was like just this big gut check of like, huh, yeah, the doubt that I just had in my head when he said, now double it. And it was different for all of us that were in the room. He's like, the people that, and then he listed off the top 10. He said, if I was going to tell anybody in the room to go double their things and they were actually going to do it, it's going to be these people. And he listed off the top 10 women. And they probably are going to go double their things because they just massively believe in what they're doing. That's why they are where they are, right? And then he also talked about something that really kind of struck my soul and just it hurts my heart for a lot of people, is that the CDC did a study, and I looked up the study as well, and did some more research on it, but a CDC did the study on health and purpose, the correlation between the two. And he said only 4 out of 10 people have found purpose in life. Only 40% of people in the world feel like they have a purpose. Isn't that sad? Only 40% of people. I mean, 60% of people out there are struggling with needing a purpose and finding a way of life. And coincidentally, there's a little over 60% of Americans that are struggling with chronic diseases that are preventable. Isn't that a crazy correlation? Health and purpose go together in so many ways. And when we can help people feel confident in their skin and feel confident in who they are as a human being and give them personal development and support them in a team like this and be healthy and taking care of themselves because they have a purpose. Like if something isn't worth something, you don't take care of it as well, right? It's just kind of the thing. Well, if that's you, that's a sad thing. If that's your neighbor, that's a sad thing. If it's human life, that's a sad thing. They need to be able to feel that they're worth something, that they're valuable, that they have purpose here on this earth, and then they will take care of themselves better. It's a perfect correlation with each other. And he says it's more than a sale. It's about helping people find purpose. It's about helping people see a higher self for them, higher point for themselves. He said, when you lower your expectations, they will always take it lower. And then he said, when the higher you set your expectations, the higher they will go for it. So by you saying $160 challenge pack, and they're like, oh, I can't afford that. And then you lower the expectation to just bod, and they're like, kind of like going to a used car salesman, right? Like he gives you the price and you're like, and then he lowers the price again and you're like, right? The vehicle didn't change, the price changed. But that's different here. Like this is worth it. This is already discounted at such a great value. Like it is the lowest it's low it's going to be. But you discounting yourself and discounting the value that you have to offer people isn't going to help anybody in the situation. People are always going to have low expectations. They're always going to want it lower. But if you set a high expectation for people and talk about the high value and always talking about the value add that you're getting and that you're giving people, they will reach that if you put that out there for them. But as soon as you back down and show that crack, they're going to go for the lower. And then he's also said, internalize your personal development. If you're busy being proactive to what the intake in the world will be, you'll be less likely to procrastinate in other areas. Internalize your PD. Don't just be something that you check off a box. Listen to it, take it in, practice it, become it. Be the confident person that you're reading about. Be the figure outable person that you're reading and listening about, right? He said your potential is so much larger than you've ever imagined. And then with all the amazing things that are coming down the pipe, then there's so many more opportunities and so much more added value for people and so many more opportunities for us to be able to help people with the things that are coming. Technology-wise, program-wise, like we're again adding to the library of Beachbody On Demand that already reaches so many fitness levels and so many types and so many opportunities for people. There literally is something for everyone, and there's going to be more opportunities for everyone coming up. And then the last thing I just want to say is that the overarching theme of a lot of the things that we heard and talked about was the word results. If I was going to summarize the entire weekend into one word, the answer is results. Get people results. Whether it's fitness and nutrition, and then them becoming a part of the team, or if it's a team member helping them get those early wins, earning an income, paying off a bill, whatever it might be, results. Get people results. That's what I got, Jay.
So good. I would say the theme that I would be results in future. And so those were the two big things. Number one, there's such a huge future with Beachbody, which is amazing. How many of you own something that's Nike? Don't worry, Beachbody's not partnering with Nike. That's not a thing. But how many of you wear like a certain brand, right? Or you use a certain kind of toothpaste, or I have Tom's deodorant, Tom's toothpaste. I wear Nike. I like Converse, like those kinds of things. That's kind of how I view bod and Shakeology. It's like a type of thing I really love. So bod became that type of workout for me instead of 20-hour fitness, right? 24-hour fitness. It's Beachbody On Demand. Shakeology, like that's the kind of supplement product, and because it's all from the earth, the ingredients are all from the earth. And so that's Beachbody. That's why I love Beachbody, just like I like Nike. That's like why I like Converse. That's why I like what's that freaking sweatshirt from Target that I always wear, right? Mountain Thread. I'm like so obsessed with it. How many of you love Ben and Jerry's? Like, right? Like, so that's your Beachbody On Demand and your Shakeology. You just really, really like it. You really love it. It fits into your life. But you have to remember and think like you've created this team, this atmosphere, this journey. Like this is something that Beachbody didn't create for you. But in our community, we really, really like Beachbody On Demand, and we really, really like Shakeology. We really like Energize just as much as I love Converse, as much as I love these glasses to protect my eyes from the screens, right? So definitely results in future. I love when Carl said, if my enthusiasm is mistaken for being salesy, I'll be guilty every time. I loved that. If someone's like, oh, I don't want to be salesy, be like, hey, if my enthusiasm for what has changed my life like comes off as being salesy or pushy, I'm going to be guilty every single time. That's exactly what I'm going to tell someone if they were to ever say that to me, because I just truly believe that this has changed my life. Seth Matheson was really incredible. He made me think of a French braid. In this journey, I was like, Kim, it's like a French braid. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, think about it. How many of you know how to French braid? Can you teach me, please? I know there's tutorials on YouTube. Oh my gosh, I'm more of a hands-on learner, if that makes sense. But like, you didn't just like throw out a French braid and all of a sudden it's awesome. Am I right? Like, it took you doing it over and over and over and over again, and it looks really beautiful. So when you see someone with a French braid online, it looks like they just did it flawlessly. If you guys look and saw that we hiked Camelback, you would just see us at the top of the peak. You didn't see all the stuff to get to that peak in the summit. Did you guys see those pictures of us on top of the mountain? Let me walk you through the story. I shared a little bit on Saturday, but this is really important because I really feel like it's this business. Number one, you are who you associate yourself with. So at 10 p.m., everyone, Teresa Schrader's like, who wants to climb Camelback? And I'm like, have you ever done Camelback? And she's like, no. And I said, I have. It's really, really hard. And she's like, you're going to have so much FOMO. And I'm like, you're right. I'm going with you. And so I decided to go to Camelback. So did Trina, like all these people. So we set our alarms. We got ready. We left before the sun came out. I'm wearing Converse. I didn't have any other tennis shoe. If you know anything about Camelback, you're climbing boulders. You're not just hiking. You're actually rock climbing. Okay? Sweet. 2, didn't eat breakfast. Didn't eat breakfast at all. We're at a resort. We were up late. So how many people were trying to get lifts to go to Camelback in the morning? 0. It was just us. So I thought about that, and I thought about how many people in Arizona have never done Camelback. A lot. And why? Because it's hard. So whatever future self you see yourself being, I want you to think about that. Not many people are thinking like that. Not many people are attempting to work for that. Are you with me? Are you seeing my parallel? Then you're going to think, I have Converse. I didn't eat breakfast. I stayed up late. Those are your reasons. So when you're looking at your future, I grew up poor. Money's hard to come by. Like, start to think about what those Converse in your life are, right? The not eating breakfast, the early morning, you're at a resort, you'd rather be sleeping in your comfortable bed, you're nursing, you're breastfeeding mom, you're pumping. Like, what is that for you that is preventing you from even attempting the climb? Okay, so we get to Camelback. You guys, I walked up the freaking parking lot hill and we were out of breath. I'm not kidding. I was like, sweet. I'm 2 months postpartum, blah, 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 right? In Converse, didn't eat breakfast. I was at a resort in a really nice, comfortable bed. So we're walking up here, and I mean, you have to use railings and stuff, right? You're getting up there. I fell. Kim fell. Like, we actually fell, like, as we were going down the mountain after we got up to the top. There was a point that we were up, and the view gets better the more you climb. It does, but it doesn't make it easier. So as you're climbing the mountain, it actually gets tougher. There's many people in life that don't attempt it, don't think about it, or they stop and turn around. How many of you have ever gotten a coach cancellation? How many of you have gotten a message saying no thanks? How many of you have share carts out? How many of you ... People ghosting you, unfriending you. I get unfriended all the freaking time. All that stuff, right? There's so many people who start it and then they just turn around. I'm telling you this, if you're showing up as your best self, there's nothing more you can do. If someone chooses to not complete a program, I've helped coaches get started in the last few months that don't hop on calls. I can take that as like I'm being a bad leader, or I can say I have a lot available and they're just not choosing to climb. They can, it's for them. They can complete a program. It's up to them, right? And so as I was thinking about this, we're on the freaking mountain and we're all chatting and we're like, this is a nice view. maybe, what time do we have to be back? Breakfast starts. Keyshawn, you're with us. You've got to be there. I'm not kidding. Trina, me, Kim, Keyshawn, she's a corporate mentor, all these people, we're starting to talk about this. Like, oh, like, yeah, we do have to get back. Like, anyone else hungry? So we didn't say you want to quit. Are you kidding me? We weren't going to say we were quitting, but we were going to say we had a reason. We had to be back. Then this man came by and he said, you're just 15 minutes from the top. Oh, just 15. Oh, you know what? We don't have to be back for another hour and a half. We can do 15 minutes. 45 minutes later, 10 breaks later, the man lied to us because he knew what we were doing. We were about to talk ourselves out of the best view on the whole dang mountain. We almost talked ourselves out of doing it because why? It was secretly really hard, and we were trying to justify why we didn't want to do something hard. Guarantee it. None of us said we wanted to quit. We all justified to make it sound better to not actually go for it. So as I was like 30 minutes in from the 15 minutes the guy said, I was like, he's a liar. And then we're like, oh, we see what he did there. But then do you want to know what I started focusing on instead of how out of breath? Kim legitimately thought I was going to pass out. She was like, you don't look good. And she could see it in my eyes, though, that I was going to make it. I mean, well, I'm not sure, but she knew my stubbornness in the sense of I'm going to complete it. And I mean, there were times where it's like people were coming down and they're like, no, you go. And I'm like, no, you go. Because I wanted to rest more, like let them, like I was being nice, like you go ahead of me. No, it's okay. No, I was dying. All right. But what I shifted my focus to is this, and this is my point to you, is whatever your camelback is, the future forward thinking, right? Instead of thinking about, I'm in Converse, I didn't eat, I was in a comfortable bed, I'm a breastfeeding mom, I'm 2 months postpartum, the view was really nice before, like this is fine, like it's an okay view, right? I don't need to see the top. Maybe they can go without me and I'll wait until they come back. I really thought through those things, and that wasn't serving me. And so instead I started to think about, I wanted to dance to Unstoppable on top of the mountain. I started to think about all the pictures that we were going to take on the mountain. I started to think about that I would have a full 360 view on top of all of Scottsdale and Phoenix, right? I started to think about the breeze. I started to think about the accomplishment. I started to think about my future self and what my future self needed in that moment when I almost turned around. And I started thinking like that, and I could do one foot in front of the other. I could climb a bulldozer. I started to do that. And by the way, we did leg day with Joel the day before. And so my quads, like I couldn't get out of bed the next day. I was so freaking sore, right? But isn't that this journey of life? Camelback. So many people don't even think about climbing a mountain. So many people would rather ... binge watch shows, whatever, I don't know, complain, be stressed out, be pumped full of anxiety. Not many attempt it. And then when they do, a lot of people stop and turn around, not because they want to admit that it's hard, but because it's good enough. And I thought about that. I thought about that paralleling with life in this journey and thinking, man, when you surround yourself with people who are determined to get there, it just kind of makes you want to do it too. That I talk to a lot of people who hate fitness, and maybe you do, but you're still doing it. And for me, I could say that I really used to. And now the way that it changed me today, from feeling anxious to, oh my gosh, I feel so much better and productive. I was thinking about that. I show up so much better because all of you are showing up, right? You're tagging me, like you're telling me what you're accomplishing, and it makes me want to level up. So let's bring that back to our journey of life. What is that 360 view for you? I thought that Kim put that really nicely of you need to show up for what your future self needs. But what is that? It's not, oh, emerald, diamond, those things. But it's, man, I really want to, when we have a jam-packed schedule of kids' activities, that I'm not getting off of work and trying to scramble to the game. If my kid gets sick, I honestly, like, I want to be there, right? Or I'm thinking about even something like Eric and I are planning a whole team retreat. We're not doing a diamond retreat. We're doing a full on Team Happy and Fit retreat in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to be more geographically friendly to those of you in the Midwest. And I'm thinking about already like what I want that to be like. And so as I'm thinking with that future, I'm thinking about how I need to show up. And so Seth Matheson talked about the future ready leader, and this is vital for you if you want to build a team. This is vital for you if you want to make this a business. Help leaders prepare for the future. And he talked about show up for yourself completely first. You have to trust yourself completely. And how do I expand more trust in myself? You should write that question down because this is going to look different for everybody. How do I expand more trust in myself? And he gave these examples, taking care of your body. By the way, he gave these examples, I don't even think realizing that this is our vitals. He gives talks to a lot of corporate people and he says, how do you expand more trust in yourself? You need to work out. And I'm like, oh, check. That's actually part of our business. He said personal development. Oh, check. That's part of our business. He's never spoken for Beachbody before. And then he said prayer and meditation. How do you expand more trust in yourself? Because if you can show up yourself completely, you can lead a future ready team. And let me tell you this. What's your edge? What's your edge in leadership? What's your edge in mentoring? What's your edge in building a home-based business? You are your edge. And so if you are your edge, you have got to trust yourself completely. I thought that was so brilliant. I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I am the edge, if I'm the secret, if I'm the gift, I have got to trust my gut. I've got to trust myself that I can do it. I've got to trust myself that I don't have to turn around and the view's okay. I can trust myself that I can put one foot in front of the other and get it there to the top, but I might need to take a little bit more breaks. I might need to drink a little bit more water. By the way, by the time we got to Camelback at the top and at the summit, a guy had already done it twice. He had already done it twice. When we first started, he was running down. And he had already made it to the top. And by the time we got up to the top, he was up to the top again. But do you want to know something? Just like the French braid, that wasn't his first time doing Camelback. That wasn't his second time doing Camelback. He probably does Camelback every single day. There was a guy carrying a suitcase. That was his recommended by his doctor, what he needed to do to overcome healing from his heart attack, his cardiovascular, I forget what they called it, but there was a camera crew following him, and that's exactly what his doctor told him to do to get better and make his heart stronger, was to do Camelback every single day. And the man had a suitcase on his freaking shoulder. And I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it. It was amazing. How do you prepare for a world you won't recognize? It's to be calm and walk through it and trust yourself completely. Peace, ease, and grace. Show up for yourself consistently. Your true wisdom is inside of you. He said, it's really important to have competency. So what are the most critical future ready leadership competencies today? He said skill, and this is what you need. Skill to help your team believe. Skill to help your team establish belief into the team. Skills to make your team believe. Skills to communicate what we believe. Skills by learning. Skills by discipline. And skills by staying in the learning lane. That is how you build a team, a future forward thinking team. You guys, those skills, belief, establishing belief, making the team believe, those aren't things you have to be born with. Those are things that you get to decide now. He said that's exactly how you move your business and your team to do bigger and better things. And then he said storytelling. He said people don't think that they have a story, or they have to have this huge dramatic story. And it's not true. What story is happening? Have the courage to tell it. So what's your story? What's your common struggle right now? That's your story. You can share your story of your past, your present, your future. And this is what I was thinking about. The one I miss is my future. Of, oh, I'm getting to work right now because I have a future that whatever Faye wants to do in life that gives her more grit and experiences, I want to be able to say yes. Or I'm working in my future because I would really love to take my family on an all-paid vacation. What are you working on, and what is your story? The ones that feel painful, sad, the ones that make you feel human. Maybe your story is that you're addicted to sweets and you're eating sweets at 10 p.m. Maybe your story is you're fearful of blah, blah, blah. Maybe your story is that you feel inadequate. You don't feel worthy. Maybe your story is that you have no idea what you're doing, but you're choosing to do it anyway. Maybe your story is, I remember when Lisa Lott came to visit me, her story at the time was she had never flown on an airplane by herself. That was her story. And people watched her on this story of flying all the way to California by herself. And by the way, the first time I picked her up from the airport, it was so quiet and we were so awkward. I think we were both nervous. Do you remember this, Lisa? We went and got pizza, of course. I don't disappoint. And by the time Lisa left and I dropped her off at the airport, like it was like a nervous like hug things when I picked her up. When I dropped her off, the doors of the airport opened and the girl just takes a bow. Straight on bows as the doors open to the San Jose airport. Like, talk about a journey of transformation in a matter of days. That was her story. Her common struggle is, I'm afraid to fly by myself. I'm an introvert, right? Like, I'm doing something massively outside my comfort zone. Maybe for those of you who bought your tickets, you're buying it in good faith to Philly. Maybe money is really tight right now and that was a scary purchase. Talk about that. That's a common struggle. You do not have to pretend to be anyone that you're not. Just because you're maybe struggling with money doesn't make you less of a person. It just makes you human. But the fact that you're willing to invest in something that you know will help you, and I'm not just talking helping you financially, helping you socially, helping you build better connections and friendships, helping you in your business because you're willing to invest in it. Talk about that. Talk about how you're nervous to go on a trip. Maybe it's you want to know what my story was? And you know who I could only think of when I was leaving Faye was Liz Colborn. I found this video and I sent it to her. Liz, do you remember? And it was, we were at Summit and we were she was FaceTiming Beckham. And I recorded her FaceTiming Beckham. And here we are together in this room in Summit and she's away from her baby. And it was that video, Liz, that gave me the courage to leave Faye for the first time. I probably talked about her 24/7 in front of Kim, let's be real, and FaceTimed and all these things. But I had the courage to do that because I saw Liz do it. I saw Liz go to events when she was pregnant. Remember when you're like, hey, Julianne, I just need like 30 minutes to sleep. Can you get out of this room? No problem, girlfriend. You put up your feet and you sleep. And you were pregnant with Beckham. You also were pregnant with Rio at these events, right? And that was your story. And my story of Arizona is that I'm leaving my 2.5-month-old, 3-month-old this week for the first time. And so my story was, I've got to pump milk, get milk ready. I've got to like do all these things to get ready. That was my story. People were following along and I showed them how I did it. And I even helped future working mamas that gave them more confidence in leaving their little babies because self-care matters. Doing something for you matters. What is your edge? Your edge is you. He talked about, this was really huge. And this honestly, like, we always get to try to get better, right? But he talked about that being fully you, having full trust in yourself. How do you move a team? And how you move a team is make people feel like they belong. be fully present with someone, tell them that they matter, acknowledge someone's presence. You are free. How much of me do I allow people to see? That's a question I really invite you to write down. How much of me do I allow people to see? That could be the one thing that is keeping you from your edge in this business. How much of me do I allow people to see? And I'm saying that from someone who has a hard time being vulnerable around people. I can be transparent. You know exactly what's on my mind. I don't have a filter. People can't believe I say the things that I do. But being vulnerable is a whole nother thing. He kept talking about freedom. I know we have 1 minute. And he wasn't talking about financial freedom. He said the ability to completely be free as your own self. That is the ultimate freedom. Being able to be the emotional wreck of a mess you think you are and owning it because you trust yourself completely. And I really do think your edge is you being free, not worrying about making a certain post, not afraid to reach out to certain people. Because at the end of the day, no one can take away who you are, right? You get to be completely free. You can only help people feel safe and as free as you feel. And if that's the way that you get to build a team, is making people feel like they belong and that they're free and that they're safe, that's what people crave, safety and freedom, right? But your ability to actually make someone feel that way is only based on how you are in those two categories of how you feel safe, belonging, and free. Safe and free unlock belonging, and belonging is all of you. It was just really, really good. I hope that this helped you tonight. I just really think that you going to a live event matters. And so if you cannot go to Philly, I really encourage you to sign up for a Super Saturday, or keep getting on team calls and just waiting for that thing. For my diamond retreat, the first time I went to, I was like, I didn't have the money to go. We drove 9 hours to get there, and I couldn't even stay the whole time. And I took a day off of work, which made an unpaid day. So I was losing out money by going. But I just remember thinking that was the moment that it clicked completely. It clicked at Summit, but then I remember sitting at the seats and I said, I'm going to leave my job one day. And it was at that diamond retreat that I had that belief. And I insanely built a lot of momentum after that. I appreciate